Back Feloners, this is Dash Renar. Today we have another begrudging fitness video, but I'm doing it because you guys asked for it. So today is going to be my shoulder workout. To start, just like any day, I do about an hour of cardio on the trainer. Heart rate's between 130 to 160, and I like that just because it's in my routine, and I feel like it gives a little bit of flexibility on the day. If I have a moment where I'm going out, the kids want to get something, I don't feel as bad if I want to eat a little bit of junk with them, if I feel so inclined. Now I'm going to title this video today, Wolverine's Workout. Now I think the reason I want to do that is because, like many nerds, my first exposure to wow, that's crazy physique was comic books. And then the Wolverine movie came out with Hugh Jackman, and that was kind of the first thought was like, wow, is that achievable? Can I do that? And that became my goal. And I kid you not, the picture I had on the back of my on my fitness calorie tracker was Wolverine in that movie, where he's got that pose where he's looking super muscular and everything. And so that was like the start of, I feel, the weight loss and activation towards the journey. And just a quick side note, I know I talked about it in the other video, it took about 5 years to get from where I was to where I am now. So that's not something that you can do. A lot of the actors are like 6 months of this or 7 months of that. Maybe it's possible, but for me, it was about 5 years to get there. So get motivated, use my man as a template, and let's go, bub. I always like to start off with shoulder press. Shoulders are actually super important when it comes to heavy archery. The left shoulder takes a huge brunt of the damage when you're trying to hold the bow from collapsing in on yourself, and that's actually the part of me that fatigues the quickest. So in order to do these sets, I do it the same way as everything else. I start with 20. 20 is basically my warm-up. Then I go from there to about 16, then to 12, and then to 10. I'm getting progressively higher every time, and then I get to a point where I fail at 8. And when I fail at that number of 8, I do 3 more sets there. So I kind of work my way towards the heaviest failed weight, and I try to repeat that number 3 separate times. And so a lot of people like to know numbers. Really, it's all very personal. Whatever your number for failure is the number you're gonna roll with. I generally get up to 70, sometimes 75 for shoulder press, and that's gonna be the one where I usually cap out at about 8. When you're doing them, just like everything, low and slow is the name of the game. You want to be under constant control the entire time. It's not an ego thing. Don't try to use different accessory muscles. Just like that, and struggle through it. And after I finish that, I like to do some isolation type movements. And those are gonna consist of the flies, I think, or arm lifts, I don't know. And you're just gonna have the weights and you're gonna fly or lift out to the side. I think these are great stabilizers for archery. Also because it really helps with that shoulder right there as you're lifting. It's really a good stabilizer motion to work on because it really targets that area specifically that I feel like gets fatigued when I'm doing heavy war bows. Variation I like to do if I'm trying to get a little heavier is I just do one arm at a time, and I kind of stabilize with this arm here, and then I come up, and that helps me, I feel, keep it a little more in line. It helps me isolate it more and get just a better particular type of movement, one side at a time. It takes longer, so it depends how much time I have on that day. And the other thing I wanted to say is, in the previous video I alluded to it, but I only do one muscle group per day, so today is just shoulder day. And I only do that once a week. So a lot of people say do things twice a week or multi-set. Well, I just like to do it this way. I feel like it gives me a good particular movement for a particular muscle grouping, and that's just how I've been doing it for a long time. So next up we have straight bar shoulder press. I'm sure there's names for all these, but I don't really know them. This one I go heavier. If you have long hair here, make sure to tie it back because I've seen videos of people getting their hair pulled out if the bar slips. But these are gonna be heavier. Again, I'm gonna work my way in a reverse pyramid towards the max number I can do. Here's one thing I really didn't notice until the internet pointed out to me, and I don't really care because I'm not a physique competitor, but apparently my lower back has very little development in it. And I think most of that comes from the fact that I trained primarily with the heavy bows, so I have a really developed upper back, but just kind of let that be a guide. Don't really care about like the proportions or whatever. You're not trying to be symmetrical or a bodybuilder. It's like use the muscles you need for your sport and let the chips fall where they may. So if you have a, not a super developed lower back, then, it's not a big deal to you, then it's not a big deal. Just let it be about yourself, what your goals are, and what you want to achieve with the physique or the body you build. When you're doing those, just like everything I do, it's low and slow, because those ones, they just feel a little odd. I think my shoulders are stiff in general, but I don't want to rush it and hurt myself. So it's very controlled, and I never go beyond what I feel like is a safe, comfortable weight for me. So the other reason I brought up the Wolverine thing is it's just really important to have a goal in mind to where you want to be and what you're looking to achieve. But it's also more important to realize that in those movies on that scene, let's say when Hugh Jackman did that scene in the Wolverine, that is like a month straight of clean eating, and then before the scene they generally dehydrate themselves to look as lean as possible, just like a bodybuilder does before show. So it's not a sustainable look the entirety of your life. And you can work hard, you can go, and you may not have the same genetics as someone, but it's just having that visual image in your head can help you go. But it's also important to taper it with reality that that's not how they look all the time. It's done for a specific scene. It's done for a few days when they have their shirts off, and then the rest of the movie they have their shirts on. And they're still obviously in great shape, but they're not gonna have that level of leanness and cutness as they did in that scene. So just have that reality there, work towards a goal, but know that it's not gonna look like that all the time. That's all polished off, I'll go over to shrugs. For shrugs, I actually don't usually start with 20 because it's just like a heavier motion anyways, and it's hard on the hands. So I usually work my way from like 12, 10, and then 8, 8, 8 again, because I like to go really heavy on those. So for these, I just try to get up as high as I possibly can get it to go and maximize that range of motion. I also try to drop it down lower so it's a full shoulder shrug. I also try to pinch at the top for a little bit too. And then, something I like to use on shoulder day. I kind of use it all the time. When I'm at home watching TV. This is just called a bow trainer. I got it off of Amazon. And you can see, and I want to demonstrate here, why the shoulders are so important for archery. So if I'm pulling up and I'm doing the type of style archery I do, which is heavy war bows, when you're coming here, your arm is going to press down to help pull. So it's going to be a dual motion, right? You're going to be up, and then you're gonna push and it's gonna pull it out a little bit, but there's a tremendous amount of strain that goes right here and here as you're doing that. So as I get up to the heavier bands, I'm coming up. Your body wants to push in on itself when it has that much weight. Shoulder to me is like the weak point a lot of times. And having something like this, where you can go and just kind of rep it out, is a great way to kind of build up those stabilizer muscles, so when you're actually shooting the bow, you're not going to fatigue as quickly and you have more time to drop back and get a proper shot off. What I wanted to show was the reality of what it takes to be at a certain position and the consistency and what that looks like. Over here is going to be a couple months, the last few months of my Apple Watch. So almost every single day I have 60 plus minutes of cardio, and then 5 days of those weeks I work out. I've got it to a routine to where literally I just breathe it. I wake up super early, do my cardio, do my thing. And it takes a long time to get there. To get to where you want to be, let's say, just picture 4 or 5 years of doing this all the time. It's feasible and it's real. You gotta be motivated to do it, but it's not gonna be done with 20-minute abs, 6-week six-pack or whatever that BS is. It's just a long grind to get there if you wanna get that Wolverine RPG physique. because I hate doing these videos, so, you know, make it fun. And one other thing I think really helps, I feel, for archery is just standard push-ups, because you're gonna be using a lot of kind of the back area, and that's gonna help with that stability as you're drawing the bow back. It's not gonna increase your draw weight, but I feel like it helps to kind of build up that stabilizer so you're able to do more and you're able to aim and hold that target for longer. So push-ups are just great in general, but I do like to do them on shoulder day as well, because I feel like it kind of activates that area I'm trying to hit. A reverse fly, so you're gonna be leaning over the bench, you're gonna have the weights in, and you're gonna fly back. These are real hard, so I don't do super heavy, but I feel like these do a great job getting that area that it's kind of hard to target. These are kind of one of my favorites to do, because I feel it really targets an area that's not hit much, and again, helps with those stabilizer muscles in the back, so you can use the bow you want and not hurt yourself. And the last thing I want to harp on, maybe just because I'm a dad and I have 3 kids, is that if results can't be achieved naturally, they're not worth having. I have never used any supplements, and I just think it's not worth the health risk. You know, if you're young and you're thinking, I want to look a certain way, I want to look like this character, this Marvel hero, this, you know, RPG character, and I can't get those results. 5 years, guys. I just want to tell you, it's 5 years to get here. It's not going to be something that happens if you're 20 now, 25 maybe, but if you want those quick results, it's just not something I think is feasible. So weigh those against it, weigh what's best for your family, and do the right thing, which is not taking things that can harm your health and harm your time on this earth, because here's where the fun is. And the weights and everything get heavier, you'll get lighter, whatever, but you just gotta have that happiness, contentedness with yourself, and the physique is gonna be something that's, you know, a supplement if you wanna work towards it, but it's not the end all be all.